All right, guys. You ready for some good news? Let's go into some good news, huh? So, folks, it turns out good things can still happen. And when I say that, I mean, like, the pressure is getting to the Trump administration. And we are getting indications that organizing, amping up pressure on both Republicans and Democrats is beginning to yield some results. These people are not immune from our pressure. It might seem like it at times, but they're not immune. A really good example was posted here in an article titled Pentagon in 60 Seconds over on status.news. And it's a story about the Pentagon spokesperson, John Ulyat, basically having to step aside due to the fact that he was one of the guys pushing and coordinating the takedown of various DEI parts of the Pentagon's operations. And notably, one of the biggest parts that he pushed on and defended taking down was a lot of the pieces on Jackie Robinson in the Defense Department. And Jackie Robinson, famous for being, the African American baseball player who integrated baseball. He also was prolific in the military, has a long and distinguished career, very important. And John Ulyat essentially created a huge firestorm by defending the takedown of I mean, frankly, of a really key component of American history. It's actually kind of bizarre because, again, when you look at this story and if you see most of the coverage of the like Jackie Robinson information being taken down off of the Defense Department websites, not a lot of news focused on that. It was not a big story, and the reason it became an issue is largely because people on social media, people on the ground were pissed, like really spitting mad. And in a lot of ways, it parallels what is happening in this country, where like media is being complicit with the Trump administration or sane washing the Trump administration at many, many, many of its turns. And in that regard, media was largely complicit and silent about Jackie Robinson being removed. And if no one had said anything, it would have just gone unnoticed. And yet, people noticed and people got furious. And so John Ulyat had to be shuffled around. He had to be moved to a less public-facing role because, guys, you want to know a secret? There aren't enough of their fascist ghouls in this administration for them to like fire people carelessly. So what they're doing instead is when someone gets in too much trouble, they just move them around to a different part of the administration. But that tells us a couple of different things, right? One, it tells us that our public pressure is still an incredibly effective tool. And two, they do not have the manpower to actually execute on a lot of their operations. They do not have the manpower to treat their allies, their cronies, as disposable yet. Yes, their numbers are limited. And those are both two really big points in our favor. Okay? And on top of that, folks, another good piece of news from earlier today. Okay? Or rather, earlier yesterday. in The New Republic, ex-Trump official warns CEOs are begging him to stop wrecking the economy. Apparently, a lot of Donald Trump's time these days is getting taken up by CEOs calling him and basically pleading with him to stop being a fucking dumbass and ruining the game. And guys, he's not going to stop doing that. And so this is another incredibly positive indicator. Because when those poor, the poor little rich boy, but it's an important part of this piece, this puzzle, okay? Because he needs the support of capital. He needs capital support, and yet he continues to alienate them. And the more he alienates them, the better it is for us, okay? It is good because a lot of what people are doing, if you watch a lot of these business shows, they are going to be talking about like, oh, everything's mostly fine, haha. But like just under the surface of what they're saying, there's an intense amount of fear. There's the fear and greed index for Wall Street, and it has turned very much into the fear portion of its index. And, well, also, Brutus Magnuson, if the economy is lopsided, it's good for billionaires. That doesn't necessarily mean it's good for millionaires, And there are a lot more millionaires than there are billionaires. And the point I'm trying to make here is that the more he alienates people that he needs to rely on, the better it is for us. The better it is for us to get him out.
John Elliott was fired from the Trump admin in 2019 for quashing a statement from the VA chief diversity officer condemning the events of Charlottesville. John is a legit Nazi. BWA.
Paladin Lost, thank you for the $5 dono and for the succinct history lesson, because yes, John Elliott is indeed a goddamn fascist weasel. And the fact that they can't treat him as disposable this time, I think says a lot. Last time they were able to fire him, but I think this time around, Donald Trump is really hesitant, and the Trump administration in general is really hesitant to fire people who they know will do whatever they're told. Because if they fire him, they might get someone who isn't necessarily going to do what they're told, who might actually have morals that diverge from the Trump administration, who might actually inconveniently at the wrong time say, no, I can't do that. That's it. All of this is a good sign. Okay? Yeah, they don't want to lose the yes men because they need those bodies, Let's see. So one of these former advisors, Anthony Scaramucci, went on record today saying, "Remember, Donald Trump is living alone in the White House. I think it's important for people to understand that there's nobody there to hand check him. There's no family in there." And so he's taking calls over the weekend from various CEOs that I know that are trying to talk him off the ledge of this sort of stuff. Yeah. The stock market will, you take the market down another 15%, we go into a recession, you'll flip Congress. Even though the Democrats aren't really doing so well from an approval rating right now, said Scaramucci. You knock the economy off the grid, the Democrats will get back in power, and that will liquidate some of President Trump's power. He's doing this thinking that it's going to restore manufacturing, but it's actually going to have the opposite effect, and market participants know this. And kinda, yeah. And I think, let me put it this way. I think that Democrats are going to turn their party around. largely because the grassroots are not just mobilizing against Donald Trump, they're mobilizing against the Democratic leadership as well. And we'll get there. We'll get there. You'll see. You'll all see. But like, this is the economic messaging right now. And I just want you all to understand, and maybe I'm gonna pop this clip into all of the chats after we watch it, so that you can share it with any of your loved ones. But this is Howard Lutnick, who is the chief financial guy for Donald Trump. Okay, doing an interview. And this is maybe one of the most damning things I've seen the administration say about where they're at when it comes to Social Security. And again, this is something that is a colossal vulnerability for them right now. And I think that genuinely the call to action you should have right now, after this stream or as this stream is going on, share this link on your Facebooks, on your with your family members, wherever your family members gather, your group texts, whatever, what have you, because it's that important. And you'll see exactly what I mean right here.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining. Let's say so.
Guys, in this clip, he lays out exactly how they are going to go about cutting Social Security. They have already cut the phone lines that allow people to call and complain about their Social Security not showing up. You actually can't do that anymore to the Social Security Administration. And what he's saying here is that they're going to structurally fuck up the Social Security Administration so that those checks stop coming. Those checks stop being reliable. And when that happens, people are going to start dying. People are going to start suffering. And people are going to get pissed beyond any measure you have ever seen. And, this guy is sitting there saying, oh, well, the good recipients of Social Security, they don't complain when they don't get their checks that they rely on to live. But anyone who would call into Social Security, they are the ones who are doing all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. Is this segment the Project 2025 vids? I mean, it's the fulfillment of the Project 2025 vids. But this is just this guy sitting down and doing an interview. Okay? So I want you guys to share this clip with everyone you know. And it is from Midas Touch. And I'm not a huge fan of that network, but this clip is necessary viewing for basically anyone. If any single person sees this and is on, like if someone's on the fence, folks, in your life that you know personally, send them this. Send them this. This guy is talking about fucking with your future, with the future of your grandmother, with the lives of any of your disabled friends and family. Wait, did he say that? I'm going to play it again. I think it's important.
Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
So he is saying his 94-year-old grandmother is just very complacent, and if they didn't send a check, she'd be totally fine and wouldn't worry about it and would just get her check next month. But anyone who would complain about missing one of those checks, again, the checks that most people on Social Security rely on to live, well, anyone who would complain about that is a fraudster. That's what this guy is saying. So I am sharing this as a piece of good news because him actually saying this on camera in a place where people could hear him indicates exactly what they're doing. I mean, Pirate Amir, it doesn't make sense unless your goal is to cut Social Security, because their goal has been to claim that there's tons of waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security so that they can justify cutting it. Because then they won't be cutting Social Security. They'll just be cutting the fraud out of Social Security. That's so when you take into account their current strategy for cutting Social Security, it makes this make a lot more sense. Because what he's effectively saying is, well, anyone who is going to call and complain about not getting a check, well, they are actually doing fraud and therefore shouldn't get any checks. That's what he's saying there. That's what he's saying there. It's not him getting it wrong. It's not a simple mistake. It's him laying the groundwork to justify killing our grandparents. That's what he's doing here. It's laying the groundwork to kill our disabled friends and family and community members. And again, I need to really reiterate, they have gutted the capacity of the Social Security Administration's phone lines, specifically so that if the elderly call via the phone, they aren't going to get assistance. So again, share this clip far and wide, because there are fewer things that are bipartisan in this country as support for Social Security. It is quite literally one of the most effective programs ever devised in the United States. And people, whether they are Republicans or Democrats, support Social Security. The only people who want to gut Social Security are billionaires, are people who want to gamble with Social Security money on markets. That's it. That's it. Okay? So share this far and wide, because we need to mobilize ever more people. And this is one of the fulcrums. This is Social Security news is one of the ways we can do that. Super important. And them leaving vulnerabilities like this out in the open is good for us. It is good for mobilizing people. Okay? Yeah, and Jason Kelly, like missing Social Security payments, you're absolutely right. Like, and I'm going to quote you, if my customers don't get their Social Security, they'll start missing loan payments. It'll spread all through the economy. It'll be chaos. Yeah. There's really no other way of cutting it. Like, it would not end with just like grandma being fed into a wood chipper. It would not end with, our disabled friends and family being left to fend for themselves. It would literally affect every one of us. Okay? So that's one of your marching orders for this, folks. Okay? it would be an instant depression. Yeah. Yeah. I'm guessing that what's probably going to happen and what they're probably going to do is send up some trial balloons of like, oh, tee-hee, we shut down the offices for a week, but now we're reopening them, tee-hee, and like trying to mess up the system that sends out those checks regularly in order to like slow down the rate at which people are getting their checks, to mess with that and to make them less dependable, and to then point at that lack of dependability and say, see, that's because we found waste and abuse. Yeah, they want to sow chaos and then use that chaos as an opportunity to do more cuts, essentially. I mean, John Bainbridge, yes. When we look at people losing out on their Social Security checks, one of the things we're losing out on is, I mean, security, not just like of the social kind, but like of the general security kind. Because like people are going to be looking at death and they're not going to do it quietly because it's kind of bullshit that what they're being asked to do.
Zero.
Fox Girl Zoe, thank you for the $5 dono. I very much appreciate that. Additionally here, of course, this is also affecting Republican districts. You know, we've been watching these Republican town halls. Not all of those angry people are liberals. Not all of those angry people are progressives or socialists or Marxists. Some of them are also Republicans. Here's Congressman Mike Lawler, someone who is literally the most backed by Elon Musk. He got the most Elon Musk money outside of Donald Trump in the last election. And here's what he said, I think yesterday or the day before. The decision to close the only Social Security hearing office in the Hudson Valley is a slap to the face of thousands of my constituents who rely on these services. Concerns about mold don't justify abandoning folks in the lower Hudson Valley. Yeah. This office handles over 2,000 backlogged cases and conducts hundreds of in-person hearings every year. Telling my constituents that they now have to travel hours to Lower Manhattan, New Haven, the Bronx, or Goshen is completely unacceptable. And just gonna throw this out there, Mike. You've been sucking Doge's dick for months now. Like, this is what you knew this was gonna happen, Mike. Every single person every single constituent you have should know that you knew this was coming and you let it happen. Okay? God. And one last thing, folks, and this is just a good thing here. Just a good thing to point out. The Tesla takedown protests are working, folks. This is an article from earlier today. Elon tells Tesla employees not to sell Tesla stock as board and executives dump their stock. Dog. This company might like just straight up not exist if things keep going the way they're going. At an all hands meeting last night, Elon Musk stood before Tesla employees and told them to hang on to their Tesla stocks as Tesla board members and top executives are dumping their shares amid a 40% crash. Tesla has frequently held all hands meetings for employees over the years, but last night it was the first time that they were streamed publicly. Which, that's interesting. That's interesting. They wanted as many people as could see it, huh? That's so interesting. God. The suggestion that Tesla employees and the public should hold on to their shares is a bold statement given that Tesla board members and executives have been selling recently. We recently reported that several board members and Tesla's own chief financial officer have been selling millions of Tesla stocks lately. Like, holy moly, guys. Like, not a little bit, a lot. The board chair of Tesla sold $76.9 million worth of shares. The director, $27.6 million. The chief financial officer, $4.5 million. They are abandoning ship. The rats are jumping off. And there is part of me that wonders if Elon is even capable of selling his shares. That's what, just to round this off, I just want to speculate a little bit here, folks. I just want to speculate a little bit here. I think Elon Musk might be fucked. He might be a lot closer to cooked than any of us imagine.
Not gonna lie, the UAW buying all the stock that the Musketeers are dumping and converting the company into a worker co-op would be the greatest bit possible.
That would be so fucking funny. But some of the scuttlebutt that I've heard about Elon Musk is that dude operates with almost no safety net whatsoever. And a lot of his wealth is tied directly into his companies, Tesla, SpaceX, etc. His wealth is quite literally dependent on these government contracts that he's been getting over the years. But with Tesla, I believe Tesla made up the bulk of his wealth, and he knows that if he sells his shares, the company is going to tank. And I think if that happens, I'm going to take a wild stab and guess that this man has leveraged a lot. Like, he's taken out some gigantic business loans. Now, I don't know this, but from the scuttlebutt I've been hearing, and from the other kind of ways Elon operates, I am willing to bet a not insignificant amount that Elon Musk is probably the world's richest poor man. Like, I think if his wealth veneer gets punctured too much, there's a possibility of triggering kind of a cascade of loans being called. And if that happens, he's done. Or at the very least, he's done being the power broker that he has been in Washington the last several months. He'll probably still be pretty wealthy if that kind of cascade event happens. But he would no longer have kind of this wealth chokehold over Washington. So keep showing up at those Tesla takedown protests, folks. There's a reason why Donald Trump is trying to sell you Tesla cars desperately. There's a reason why, Howard Lutnick is talking about, you need to buy some Tesla stock. in his media appearances. There's a reason Elon Musk is showing up at live streamed like board meetings to tell employees, please don't sell. Please don't. People who are in a position of power, genuinely and truly and securely, don't need to do that. They do not need to do that. So that's my bold prediction. My bold prediction is if these Tesla takedown protests continue to snowball, that could genuinely be the thing that takes Elon Musk out of politics. Would you bet all of your Dogecoin on that? all of my Dogecoin? Maybe I would. Maybe I would. So anyway, folks, that is that's some good news. That's some good news right there. Good stuff happening. Have heart, take courage, and get out there and continue doing good shit. Be loud, be bold, and do not retreat.